Touch the bottom of your face. That small piece of bone feels so ordinary that you have probably never questioned it. It sits below your mouth, appears in every selfie, and quietly changes the shape of your entire face. But it should not be there. Dogs do not have one. Cats do not have one. Chimpanzees and gorillas do not have one. Even Neanderthals, humans who survived ice ages, hunted enormous animals, controlled fire, and lived across Eurasia, did not have a true chin like yours. Among all known animals, a true bony chin belongs only to modern humans. For more than a century, scientists have tried to explain why evolution created it. Maybe it strengthens your jaw. Maybe it helps you speak. Maybe it protects your face from punches. Or perhaps our ancestors simply found prominent chins attractive. Each explanation sounds reasonable, and each one has a serious problem. Because new research suggests the most human-looking part of your face may have never been useful at all. Your chin might be an evolutionary accident. Before solving the mystery, we need to define the crime scene. Many animals have something below their mouths. A dog can rest its chin on your leg. A gorilla has a lower jaw. A bird has the bottom of its beak. But anatomically, those are not true chins. A human chin is a forward-projecting structure at the lower front of the mandible. When your face is viewed from the side, the bone beneath your lower teeth does not simply slope backward. It moves forward and creates a visible point. Inside that region is a distinctive combination of features, including a central projection and surrounding depressions. Together, they form the shape anthropologists recognize as the modern human chin. A chimpanzee's jaw slopes backward. A gorilla's jaw slopes backward. Most earlier human relatives had powerful jaws, but the area beneath their teeth did not project forward in the same modern way. So this is not merely a cosmetic detail. It is a skeletal signature. If an anthropologist discovers a lower jaw with a clear modern chin, that feature can help identify it as Homo sapiens, which makes the mystery stranger. Why would evolution place such a recognizable structure on only one surviving human species? Place a modern human skull beside a Neanderthal skull, and the difference becomes obvious. Neanderthals had large faces, heavy brow ridges, broad noses, and robust jaws. Their bodies were built for demanding lives in cold environments. They made tools, cared for injured group members, used fire, and may have practiced symbolic behavior. They were not primitive failures. Yet their lower jaws generally lacked the full anatomical package of a modern human chin. Modern Homo sapiens developed a flatter, smaller, and more retracted face. Our teeth and jaws became less massive, while the lower front of the mandible appeared to project outward. At first glance, that makes the chin look like a deliberate upgrade. But evolution does not design bodies like an engineer drawing a blueprint. Natural selection modifies existing structures, and sometimes one change produces a completely different feature as a side effect. Before accepting that answer, scientists had to eliminate several more exciting possibilities. The first involved food. Imagine life before supermarkets and blenders. Our ancestors chewed tough plants, uncooked tissues, fibrous roots, and food filled with grit. Strong jaws mattered. A reinforced chin might have helped the lower jaw resist bending as teeth crushed difficult meals. This was one of the most intuitive explanations. There is only one major problem. When researchers examined the mechanical forces acting on the human jaw, the chin did not behave like an efficiently placed support beam. If chewing pressure directly built the chin, populations experiencing stronger chewing forces should consistently develop larger or more reinforced chins. The relationship is not that simple. Other primates generate powerful chewing forces without producing a true human chin. Neanderthals possessed extremely robust faces and jaws, yet they did not develop our distinctive projection. And as cooking, cutting tools, and food processing reduced the work required from human jaws, our faces became smaller, not stronger. The chin may be associated with that transformation, but not because it was selected as a chewing shield. So perhaps it had nothing to do with eating. Perhaps it helped us talk. Language is one of humanity's most extraordinary abilities. Your tongue, lips, jaw, breathing system, brain, and vocal tract coordinate to turn air into meaning. Because the chin sits beneath the mouth, it is tempting to connect it to speech. Maybe the bone provided extra space for muscles. Maybe it stabilized the jaw during rapid conversation. Maybe a chin was part of the anatomical package that allowed Homo sapiens to speak more clearly than other humans. It is an attractive story. But a chin is not required to produce complex sounds. The muscles controlling the tongue and lower lip do interact with the front of the jaw, but there is no convincing evidence that the projecting chin itself evolved specifically to create language. Neanderthals lacked our full chin, while possessing anatomy and synthetic evidence consistent with meaningful vocal communication. Whether their language resembled ours remains debated, but being chinless did not make them silent. Modern humans also display a wide variety of chin sizes and shapes without corresponding differences in their ability to speak. A small chin does not reduce your vocabulary. A large chin does not turn you into a better singer. So the language theory loses much of its power. But there was another possibility, and it was considerably more violent. Humans cooperate extraordinarily well. We also fight. Some researchers proposed that the chin evolved as protection against blows to the face. If ancient humans regularly struck one another, extra bone beneath the mouth might have reduced damage to the jaw. It sounds plausible because the chin is often the exact place a fighter tries to hit. A well-placed punch can rotate the head and disrupt the brain. But that creates a contradiction. A protruding chin can also provide a more accessible target, and the detailed architecture of the human mandible does not clearly resemble armor engineered to absorb repeated impacts. If fighting directly selected stronger facial protection, we might expect the most exposed regions to become thicker and more robust. Instead, modern human faces generally became lighter and more gracile than those of many earlier hominins. The punch theory makes a dramatic scene. It does not yet provide a complete evolutionary explanation. That leaves attraction. Look at portraits, fashion photographs, superheroes, and movie posters. Chins influence how people perceive a face. A strong chin can be associated with confidence or masculinity. A small chin can make the rest of a face appear softer. Could sexual selection have created it? Perhaps individuals preferred partners with certain jaw shapes, causing prominent chins to spread through populations. The problem is that preferences change across cultures and history. Humans also show enormous variation in chin shape, projection, width, and symmetry. If one specific form consistently delivered a major reproductive advantage, we would expect a clearer pattern. Attraction may influence differences among modern chins, but it does not fully explain why the underlying structure appeared in Homo sapiens and nowhere else. After chewing, speech, fighting, and attraction, the chin still refuses to justify itself. Then researchers asked a different question. What if evolution never selected the chin directly? Think of the front of an ancient human face as a large construction. Earlier hominins generally had more projecting faces, larger teeth, and robust jaws. Over time, the modern human face became smaller and flatter. The midface retracted, tooth size decreased. The upper part of the jaw, containing the teeth, did not project as far forward. But every part of the face did not shrink in exactly the same direction or at exactly the same rate. As the dental region moved backward and the lower base of the jaw followed a different growth pattern, the front of the mandible could appear to project outward. In other words, the chin may not have moved forward because evolution wanted a chin. Everything above it may have moved backward. Imagine renovating a building. You move a wall inward, remove a staircase, and shorten the front room. A structural corner that was once hidden now sticks out. No one designed that corner as a new feature. It became visible because everything surrounding it changed. That type of evolutionary byproduct has a name, a spandrel. The biological term spandrel was inspired by architecture. When arches support a dome, triangular spaces appear between them. Those spaces were not originally created because the building needed triangular decorations. They appeared automatically as a consequence of constructing the arches. Artists may later decorate them, but decoration was not the reason the spaces existed. A biological spandrel works similarly. Natural selection changes one trait, and another feature appears as an unintended consequence. In 2026, researchers examined craniomandibular evolution across 532 skulls from humans and other apes. They tested whether traits in the chin region showed evidence of direct selection, neutral drift, or evolution as a byproduct of changes elsewhere in the skull and jaw. Their results supported the spandrel explanation. The chin appears to have evolved largely as a byproduct of selection acting on other craniofacial features, rather than because the chin itself delivered a survival advantage.
That does not mean the study ends every debate. Evolutionary anatomy is complex, fossils are incomplete, and different researchers may emphasize development, facial reduction, hormones, diet, or other interacting forces. But it delivers a remarkable possibility. The only species with a chin may have acquired it without ever needing one. Calling the chin an accident does not make it meaningless. Once a feature exists, it can influence appearance, muscle arrangement, social perception, and later evolution. Humans use the word chin in expressions of courage, embarrassment, and determination. We raise it when proud, lower it when afraid, and rest it on our hands while thinking. It changes how glasses, masks, helmets, and facial hair fit. It helps artists recognize a profile. It gives forensic scientists and anthropologists another clue when studying remains. But these modern uses do not prove why the structure first appeared. Evolution does not need to predict the future. It does not know that humans will invent portraits or superhero posters. It only modifies bodies generation after generation. Sometimes the result is a wing, an eye, or a hand. Structures with obvious functions, and sometimes the result may be a bony shelf beneath your mouth that survives simply because it does not prevent you from living and reproducing. You inherited it, not necessarily because it saved your ancestors, but because it came attached to changes that did. Your eyes help you see. Your nose helps you smell. Your mouth helps you eat and speak. But your chin may have spent hundreds of thousands of years doing almost nothing. It was not necessarily built to crack nuts, pronounce words, survive punches, or attract a partner. It may be the visible leftover of a face that became smaller, flatter, and unmistakably human. Chimpanzees do not have it. Gorillas do not have it. Neanderthals did not have the complete modern version. You do. So the next time you look in a mirror, do not just see a random bump beneath your mouth. See an evolutionary accident carried by billions of people, a feature that may never have had a purpose, yet became one of the clearest signatures of our species. The most human part of your face may exist because evolution was changing everything around it, and somehow it left your chin behind.